Hello everyone, I'm back again with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about is transgenderism the hill to die on? So a lot of times you get told as a conservative that it's not a big deal. Do you really want to die on this hill? But my short answer is yes, this is definitely the hill to die on. This is a big issue, and I'll tell you why. So I got a few points here to make. All right. Number one, one of the first reasons I would state, it's not the main reason, but it's one of the first reasons that I'll give. I'm not necessarily doing these in order. So my first reason is just for truth and sanity. Okay. My whole life, I've loved truth. There is no freedom without truth. There really is no society without truth. There's no morality. There are no laws. There's no way to enforce the laws, okay? So, the very first reason is you've got to establish truth and reality before you can ever have a society. Plus, I think it's just an important part. It's an integral part of our lives, okay? And if you can't tell a simple truth, like what is a man and what is a woman, then you've got huge foundational issues. And my other reasons for standing against the current transgender movement will bear that out. You'll see how this directly actually has real life physical implications, okay? So the very first thing, though, is just there needs to be truth. You can't send a person to prison when there is no truth. They did something you say is wrong, but they say it's not wrong. So how dare you put them in prison, okay? So it's a very undergirding of society, but also Jesus Christ says that he is the truth. Okay? And so as a Christian, the truth is deeply important to me. The truth has always been important to me. That's what led me on my search that led me to Christianity, because I want to know what happened to me when I died. For real. And, I don't need just a pie in the sky answer like, oh, you're going to have an afterlife or whatever. That doesn't comfort me if it's not true. Okay, so the only way that would ever comfort me is if it's true. So I wanted to know what really would happen to me, and I've always been like this. I always want to know the truth, even if it hurts me, even if it's not what I want to hear. A comforting answer, if it's not true, I don't care about it one bit. And I still test my beliefs to this day, though. I feel like Christianity has proven itself more and more reliable and trustworthy as I've gone. Now, my next reason that I would give, it's a little more superficial, but it's pretty important. You'll see that right now, women are having their achievements, their scholarships, their records, and things like that stolen from them by men in sports. Now, I don't know why this is like the major talking point for almost all conservatives. Probably because for some reason our culture is insanely obsessed with sports for whatever reason. But that's not my main point. But I do want to bring this up because I do think it's unfair, and I do think it's a real erasure of women. If the woman of the year is a man, if the record breaker and the greatest athlete, female athlete, is a man, then that's a real issue. How does that not erase women? I mean, no woman can compete with that. And it's not fair. But that is the least of my concerns, but it is a point I want to bring up. Now, my bigger concerns are the practical applications that it leads to, as far as things like, where do you put a guy who says he identifies as a female whenever he commits a crime? Do you put him in female prison or do you put him in male prison? Well, right now we've got women being impregnated and raped. They're being, it's like torture. They're having to be forced to get abortions. It's insane. It's ludicrous. Now, everybody who's watched my videos knows I'm pro-life, and I think as the science keeps getting stronger and stronger, and as people think through their thoughts more and more, the more everybody's going to lean to that side, because it's indisputable that, when you get impregnated, you say, well, we can kill it before it's a human. Well, what is it before it's a human? It's not like it's a koala bear or something. It's an actual human, okay? And I'm sorry if that hurts you. I'm sorry if you got an abortion. I don't judge you. I don't condemn you. There's no sin that Jesus Christ can't pay for, and there's no sin that God can't forgive you for. So, but either way, I think as the science bears itself out, and as people start to realize and read and acknowledge the science that already, the things that science have already bared out, I think the more they're going to realize that, pro-life is the only tenable position. It's the only position that you can actually support and defend. Okay? But either way, I mean, these women, they're being raped without consent. And even when sometimes they say, oh, these women got impregnated by female inmates, and it was consensual. Is there really any consent in a prison when you have a male who's stronger and can hurt these females? I mean, there is no real way to know if there's consent, right? Especially the feminist and the leftist talking point is that, when a male holds an advantage, there can be no consent, especially when they're talking about the workplace. But when they're talking about physical strength in a prison, suddenly all that seems to evaporate. But not for me. Okay? So I would say this is like torture. I don't care what those women did to get in there. Most of the women that are in women's prison, they committed a crime because they've already been in abusive situations with males, and a lot of times they're put up to those crimes by males. And so they've been abused by males, they've been used by males, they go to prison for males, and then all of a sudden they're being raped by males who are claiming to be women. What a disastrous thing. And on top of that, I mean, I don't care what they did. Their punishment is prison. They're being isolated so they can't hurt anybody else. They're being punished to help try and rehabilitate them. But there is no chance of rehabilitation, and there is no way that I will agree that this is fair treatment of them. I don't care what they did. They do not deserve to be raped over and over again and being forced into abortion after abortion. There's just no way. This is one of the sickest things and the most deranged things I can imagine. Now, are real, true people who are suffering from gender dysphoria, do they really think they're a female and then they're going out and raping females? No, but people are manipulating the system because truth has been completely abandoned. It allows all these loopholes for wicked people to distort and manipulate the system because there is no truth. And without truth, there can be no laws. And without laws, there is no freedom in society. I promise you. You can try to work around it, but I guarantee you will not find a reasonable, thoughtful answer that's logical whenever you abandon truth and reality. So what I would say, another issue would be, maybe less extreme, but men being allowed in the women's restroom and in the women's changing room. Women deserve privacy. This is another atrocity to force little girls and women to be exposed to male sexual organs when they're supposed to have their own privacy and their own domain to go use the restroom or change their clothes for sports. Then you've got some person in there exposing their genitalia to these women. That is a sick atrocity. Okay? I don't care who you are or what you think. And then on top of that, it all circles back around to the fact that there has to be truth. Okay? There has to be truth. Now, another issue that we find is that if you argue that a child can pick their own gender at birth or, at 5 or at 12, then you have all these issues come up about consent. Why can't a child not buy alcohol or buy a gun? Why can't right now, a big hot button issue, they're talking about raise the age of buying a gun. Why? Why raise the age of buying a gun? I'm not defending the age of buying a gun one way or the other in this video. But why raise that age? Well, the reason you raise that age, the reason why kids can't buy alcohol, the reason why kids can't get a tattoo, the reason why kids have to submit to the authority of their parents is because kids do not have a fully developed brain and they cannot fully consent to things like sex. A kid can't decide whether they want to have sex, so how in the world can they decide that they're a completely different sex? Okay? And that is a huge, huge issue. I'm told all the time this is a slippery slope argument, but, this leads to the legalization of pedophilia. Now, one of the things I've learned is I don't care when people tell me that this is a slippery slope argument. That's one logical fallacy that I don't give one flying flip about, because every slippery slope fallacy that I've ever committed has turned out to be true. Every single one of them in the last 15 years has come out to be 100% true and have fleshed themselves out in reality. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that's a slippery slope argument, okay? God gave me a reasoning, logical brain. Why? So I can help solve my problems now and avoid issues in the future. So if I cannot avoid issues in the future, then what is even the point of having a reasoning, logical brain? Okay, there isn't one. All right, if logic can't save me from making mistakes, then what good is it for? All right, now, with all that being said, the final point I would like to make is the underpinning argument for the whole transgender issue. We're treating transgenderism as if it is true when it is undeniably false. Okay? So the premise relies on this, a real circular argument. For transgenderism to be true, what we're told by the experts is that gender and sex have nothing to do with each other. They cannot be conflated. But the problem is they have to be simultaneously not related and also 100% interconnected. So if your gender doesn't determine whether you're a different sex, and so therefore you can change sexes, the problem is they use their gender to determine whether they're that sex. So you both have to not have sex and gender connected, but also have it connected. Okay? And that is a logical absurdity. It breaks the law of non-contradiction. Okay? So if it is both not connected and connected, then it cannot be true. And for a simple illustration, you say that someone's gender are these attributes of the person, their tendencies of their personality to be like one sex or the other. Okay? And so if a boy has these female gender characteristics, then they must be a girl or a woman. So what is a woman? Well, a woman is an adult female. A girl is an adolescent female. Okay? So that's someone of a different sex. You get what I'm saying here? So when I was growing up, I was told that, just because someone likes pink and likes Barbies, that doesn't make them a girl. Girls are more than that, more than a compilation of their preferences, right? So a girl doesn't have to like Barbies and things like that. But now I'm being told that if a boy likes Barbies and likes to wear dresses, they are undeniably a different sex because they have this different gender. There is a spectrum in masculinity and femininity. Okay, there can be men who have some feminine traits. There are women who have some masculine traits. Okay, that's okay. Instead of trying to butcher these people and put them on hormones and things like that, why don't we accept who they really are? They have these body parts, and they have these feelings, and they have these proclivities. That doesn't make them any less male or female, okay? That's true acceptance. That's true tolerance. If you have these certain proclivities and preferences and things like that, but that doesn't make you a female, it doesn't make you a woman, but Also, if you have them, it does 100% make you a woman. That breaks the law of non-contradiction. Most people who are pro-transgenderism, they cannot explain what a woman is, because they know it calls out that logical fallacy. You can't have gender both not being tied to sex and 100% being tied to sex at the same time. It just cannot work. Okay? That complication between trying to tie gender to sex and not tie it to sex. Okay? And makes a lot of confusion, and that's how this stuff is allowed. People who were supposedly sex experts, but they were actually just perverts. You can actually look up their history, where these terms got founded, and you'll see that these people were degenerates. They performed sexual experiments on babies, and they mutilated twin boys and things like that. They should be ridiculed for the atrocities they've committed, but instead, they're still an integral part of gender theory. So hopefully I explained this well enough. But those are some of my objections, and that is why I say that yes, 100%, this is the hill to die on. It is a major fight that you will have in this generation. I'll say this as well. Like I said, if someone suffers from gender dysphoria, my heart sympathizes with them 100%. I don't want to hurt their feelings. But one of the things you have to do, I think, is tell people the truth, because lies hurt people more than the truth does. So sometimes it is better to hear the truth and straighten out your life than it is to hear a lie. And a perfect instance of this, and why I'm telling you I care about these people and I don't want them to feed on a lie, is because all these people are being pressured and convinced that they should transition at an early age. But what that does is sometimes it sterilizes people. And it is not, no matter what they say, a reversible decision. So children are being able to make these life-altering decisions at a really young age when they cannot consent. They're not fully who they're going to be. And it's going to completely alter their life. And one of the things I can tell you right now, like it or not, it is the truth. It is the 100% truth. Having children is tough, but it is one of the most rewarding and fruitful sources of love and joy. There is no love or joy that you will experience that even remotely compares to having children, other than the joy of having a relationship with Christ and knowing that you're redeemed and called His child. Other than that, there is no source of joy like having a child. And that's being robbed from so many people. Okay? And what I would like for people to instead do is, for people who are confused or people who really have this issue, is to get the issue taken care of. Not to encourage it. Not to encourage the destruction of their bodies. Not to encourage all the trouble that this is going to bring on their life. Okay? And so I think this is 100% the issue of our time. It is 100% worth dying on this hill. All right, guys, leave a comment. If you did like it, leave a comment. If you want to argue, leave a comment. If you want to add something that I have forgotten in this video, please leave a comment. I'll be doing more videos on this. I've done videos before on this topic, and I will link that in this video. Until next time, be blessed. I will see you on the next video. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing.